But you mentioned California. California, here's yet another fun thing that they've come up with to do. And of course, this has been going on for a little while now. This is a longer conversation than a hot minute. But California, and I think it's 9 other states, might be 9. I'll double check that. They are planning to ban gas vehicles by 2035. Gone. Boom. Gone. That should be great. I'm sure the power grid can, handle that no problem.
I mean, that alone is a reason it's not going to happen. I mean, as California stands right now, and I understand this is 11 years from now, but the reality is that they're not going to be able to generate, update, build enough power plants or power plant capacity to, get rid of all gas powered vehicles by 2035. But so California itself can't support it, right? They have problems now. I mean, the last 2 years it's been, hey, we would prefer that you don't charge your cars. It's almost like the places like that. I don't know if you've ever lived in a place or during a drought where it's like, hey, if you have an even number, you can water your lawn on a certain day. If you have an odd number address, then you're the opposite, and blah blah blah. And they control water consumption like that. They're gonna have to do the same thing with power. Right. You can only charge your car on off days or even days, odd days, whatever it is. Still not going to support it. But really what's going to destroy this in concept before it even gets off the ground is trucking. Like California, with the amount of ports that they have, right? If you can't get it off the port, you can't, it's useless, right? So and they do that with trucks, and they're not going to do it by electric trucks, because electric trucks don't work, right? They've already, I don't know if you've seen it, but I've seen a couple of the conceptual diagrams for these things, and they have to haul a trailer as big as a trailer just for the batteries so that they can haul the, you know what I mean? It would be like a double semi to haul one load, right? You got one load of cargo, one load of batteries, you know what I mean? And that's kind of how it's, but the trucking industry is looking at this and they're shaking their heads because they're not going to do it. No. But how do you get the stuff off of the port? How do you get it off the docks? And where does it go? So unless they're going to extend every rail line to every port, and they're going to move everything by rail, which they're not going to do. Because what do you do about inside of California?
Right. Yeah.
So the ports alone, when you talk about the Bay Area, Los Angeles, you talk about San Diego, all the ports along the coast, that alone makes this a non-issue. They're not going to be able to move. I mean, they'll destroy their own economy.
Right. Yeah. Logistics wise, I mean, every which way you look at it, it's unsustainable. It's just not practical. It's not logical. And it's not really the environmentally friendly thing that they want you to believe that it is. It's absurd. It's absolutely absurd. And the thing that always gets me with this and all of the things that they do, honestly, is that you can't tell me, you can't get me to believe that these people are too stupid to think of these things. They can't be. It's impossible for them to be so dumb to not think of all these possibilities. So the alternative to that, if you say these are not dumb people, they realize all of these things, and yet they're still pushing forward with all of these things that they're doing, from the illegal immigrant fast tracking to these, EVs. The only alternative to understand what's happening is that it is deliberate destruction. It's deliberate attempts to just destroy our country. I mean, how else can you look at it? I mean, this is the grand scheme and the grand plan of socialists, right? They want absolute dependence on the government. They want everybody to be equal, equally poor, equally dependent, equally, incapable of functioning without. And as always, I think I say this every episode that we talk about these things. The only thing that makes me more mad and frustrated than these people doing this are the dummies, and I'm calling them dummies. These are the dummies that are like little minions going, these are great ideas. clean energy. Let me get my bumper sticker on my, plug-in car. I can't take it, Clay. My blood pressure is going up.
And we've already, that it doesn't take much to figure out that even the U.S. shifting to EVs, one, the pollution that's caused by building them is worse than gas cars. The child labor involved in mining is atrocious. Right. But, oh, by the way, the rest of the world's not making the shift, so it doesn't matter. Like, we're not fixing anything. Right. And all we're doing is making things more expensive for the average, the average American, both in vehicle costs, in, paying their electric bill, in consumption of goods, transportation costs associated. We're just making everything more expensive. So you're right. This is about tearing the economy apart to make everybody dependent upon the government, which is what they want, which is, the next step into socialism. So that's where all of this is headed. And truthfully, we can't do another 4 years in this direction.
We can't. We're done for. We're done
I'm
for.
I'm telling you, another 4 years, and I hate saying this, and I don't want to be the conspiracy theorist and the chicken little sky is falling, but I'm telling you, another 4 years of this is going to turn violent. It's going to turn violent. That is the result of this is violence, and it's going to be a lot of violence. Because people are not going to be able to survive it. They're not going to be able to pay their bills. They're not going to be able to, and banks don't care. You're going to have people losing their houses. You're going to have people losing their cars. You're going to have, massive government dependency. And then things are going to turn violent because people who've lost things and have had things taken away from them are going to want them back.
Yes.
They're going to take them. And they're going to take them they can't take them from the government. So where are they going to take them from? People who still have them. Right. And then the violence is going to go up and it's going to get ugly real fast. So I don't want to be that guy, but that's, to me, another 4 years, that's exactly where we're headed.
Oh, I'll tell you what, Clay, you know what? I mean, I agree with you. Nobody wants to be that guy, but I'll tell you, I am definitely 100% that guy these days. I am. My husband chuckled a little bit, but he also knows I'm serious, because it's just, he chuckled because it's coming from me. And it probably does sound funny that I'm like, you got to get your supplies. I want to have all our stuff and things so that we are prepared for, for the grid going down, for all of the things that can happen. And like you said, if we have another 4 years of this, you better start prepping, my friends. You better be ready, and you better have all of the things that you need, and to survive, essentially. And I know that sounds crazy because we live a pretty comfy, cushy life, and we can't imagine that ever being a possibility. But we are damn skippy. We're heading that direction, So you can either shrug it off, guys, or take it seriously. And I know a lot of our listeners and watchers actually do take it seriously. So, it is a preaching to the choir moment here. But for those handful of people that might come in and say, what are these people talking about? We're talking about better be smart because it's going to get ugly. If this is the path that we stay on, it's going to be bad for sure. For sure. Yep. Sorry, guys, for the doom and gloom, but it is what it is for sure.